If you're looking for me, you can find me. Pimpin' getting riches, grinding. And ain't no use in even trying me. 45 piece beside me. Now let the church say amen again. Church say amen again. Church say amen again. Purse first, ass last, get your bag and win.
What's up, people? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's your boy, Coach E-Man, or simply Emmanuel. We're here with another episode of the More Life Podcast. As you know, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so I'm doing a couple podcast episodes to bring awareness to sexual assault. I did the first episode, part 1 of Kissing Cousins. Today is part 2, and we have a special guest on by the name of Arnetta Moore. She's my cousin. She's my little sister. She's a friend, and I'm actually going to give her time to introduce herself, and then we're going to dive into the conversation.
Good evening or good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Arnetta Moore. I hold many titles. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I also attend a church called Soul Fed Life Ministries, where I'm under the leadership of Apostle Arnetta Moore. So in doing that, I'm a minister also. And again, I host other titles in different auxiliaries at our church. And so on today, of course, Emmanuel Moore is my cousin. I consider him a brother. He is also one of the persons that I tend to in ministry because he also is a minister. So he's the kind of person that I lean to, him and his wife, in guidance and love and support of us both being under the cloth, okay? Because that's the family. But so when he told me about such a topic, I was moved to share. And I know a lot of people don't like sharing such we call them skeletons or baggage, but it's healing in sharing. And my prayer and my goal and my mission is to, when I share, that that you also, the viewers, the people that are listening, feel delivered also, and seek healing. And I believe that if you seek those things, deliverance and healing, it will take place, and you can help someone else along their journey, what they're going through, or even encourage them by sharing to also be a sharer also, because you never know. Sometimes we find strength by listening to someone else's testimony or someone else's message. So I just thank God and honor. Thank you for having me, Emmanuel Moore. So proud of your accomplishments with this podcast. And I think this is a hot topic that should be discussed, kissing cousins, especially at a time as this, and this month being Sexual Assault Month. So kudos to you. Good job, Minister Emmanuel Moore. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. You ain't got to drop all them titles, Minister. I'm just E-Man. I'm Coach E-Man today.
Okay,
but
Coach
no,
E-Man. Okay.
But no, you good. We good. I know you were a victim of sexual assault, and I want to give you this platform to tell your story, and then we're going to dive into some questions. So I'm actually going to give you the table to talk about, what happened to you, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, as a youth, I as a young person, I grew up with my grandmother. And so in the summer times, when school let out, that was my opportunity to visit my mother and to visit my father. And so this particular summer, I was just visiting family. And so I wasn't home no more because, again, my grandmother raised me, and that's my home. And so I went to visit, as I always do every summer. I go here or there, and sometimes I do both. And this summer, in meeting family and going to be with loved ones, siblings, I ended up being around a cousin that I was familiar with. And I don't know about nobody else, but to me, at that age, and I want to say I was probably maybe about 12, maybe 11, no more than 14. I can't remember because I don't know how, but I didn't create a whole nother, person from that experience.
Right.
But anyway, I was, again, my nickname, which it's not, I'm not ashamed to share, but everybody in my family don't even know my real name. My name is Arnetta. My maiden name is Arnetta Hickwood, and then I married Moore. And so, but most people call me Princess, right?
Right.
And so, and then also on my other side of the family, they call me Baby Girl. And so, but anyway, nobody know my real name like that. And so, but I look at my cousins as big brothers, because I was more so the only girl on both sides of the family. I was the only girl. Okay. It was, and if it was a few girls, they were younger than me. So I was the only girl in my age group. So I'm always around all boy cousins. Okay. And some of them were a lot older than me. And some of them was almost about my age, but I was kind of like the baby girl cousin.
Okay.
And so when I went to go visit family, so I because this person was closer to my age range, of course, we don't go down, we go up with age. I clinged around this cousin because I'm with my brother, or whatever. But what I didn't realize was that I guess he see my form. I've been an endowed young lady all my life, had matured more than other girls my age. And so I do believe that was maybe, there's something that he was looking at that I didn't see, because although I was a baby girl cousin, I'm around boys, I was kind of a tomboy. So I didn't see my form the way others see my form. I was like, it's in my way. I can't run like I want to run. I can't do what I want to do with my figure, right?
Right.
Long story short, being around this cousin, I noticed that he would draw me away sometimes, and I didn't notice until I got other. I didn't notice until I got other, and I got a little older, that we were kind of secluded little by little, and so that would not alarm the adults. That would not alarm me, because it happened gradually, of us kind of, slowly getting away, being secluded in isolated areas and things of that nature. Well, it also progressed too by being more at nighttime. I would look up and he would be in how I grew up. It wasn't uncommon for cousins to sleep in the same areas. It wasn't uncommon for, sometimes we share a bed, because when it's a lot of us in the home, sometimes we have to share a cover. We have to share a bed. And so it wasn't uncommon that I would wake up next to my cousin, or my cousin, or I would go lay with my cousin. And mind you, I have other siblings privy too. So it wasn't uncommon that we would cluster together, sleep on the couch, on the floor, whatever, and share covers or share spaces, because this particular summer, it was a lot of us, okay, over a relative house. And then I did notice in my sleep, I would feel hands touching my personal parts. And but again, I just denounced it, because this is my favorite cousin. I don't think that he will hurt me. I don't think that he will harm me. I don't think that he would do, I don't, it was kind of like, like, better, but ain't no way, maybe I'm tripping, maybe it's me, And so, with that being said, I overlooked it too many times, I do believe. And still to this day, never have said anything pertaining to these things. I think the only person that I've actually shared the story with was my husband, and a little bit to my children, so they can understand the signs too. But yes, eventually it got to where the touching began to be a little bit more. It began to be a little bit more progressive. Hold on one second. Technical difficulty. Hold on.
That's that baby. It's okay. You can keep talking. Ain't nobody but promise, y'all. It's baby girl. It's all right, y'all. Yeah, it's promise. Promise is she say blessed. I say spoiled. She pretty little girl, my goddaughter. So that's what she talking to right now. That's why look, she laughing, trying to look all. But yeah, that's just promise, y'all. She want to be around her mama.
She needed a little snack.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
But
You were
yeah, I
talking
didn't want
about that cousin touching you, and it got more physical,
it
I'm
got
guessing.
more,
So yeah.
yeah. And it got more progressive. The hindsight is no penetration took place.
Okay.
But it did make me question love. It did make me question a protection. I didn't feel protected. I also didn't feel like I can go tell anybody. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want this cousin to get in trouble either,
Okay.
but I didn't want to get in trouble, but I also felt like it could have escalated left, I've seen instances where stuff escalated and I didn't want anybody to get hurt. I didn't want to get anybody, maybe in my adult life, yeah, consequences should have took place. But as a child, I did not want
You're not thinking
anybody
about
to.
that.
No, I love my family, but yeah, it progressed. It started happening more at nighttime. It started happening more. I would wake up literally like, where did you come from? I would even try to hide, I would try to stay closer to my brother. And
Mm-hmm.
I might have even shared, I can't all the way remember, but I want to say I might have even shared this with my brother because it's a part of me didn't feel okay, but I just felt like I was such in a hard position because I wanted to say something, I didn't know that I could. And again, I was protecting the situation. I was trying to protect this person and not cause a big scene, because too, my name is uh uh I was also the tattleteller. You
And
see
was, but it's
something, you
okay.
say something, but in hindsight, when I would go stop telling all the time, you tell again, you're gonna get in trouble. You should be snitches get stitches. And then when I did tell, now I gotta isolate because don't nobody want to play with the tattleteller. Okay. Don't nobody want to
Right.
play with the person who's gonna tell everything that we're doing. So I was in fear of not participating with those ones that I'm around that I love. My siblings and my cousins and stuff. And I didn't want also again to, be isolated at the time where I wanted, in my mind, I wanted the support, but I seen what the support looked like at that time. And it wasn't loving. It wasn't inviting. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't, so, but anyway, but yes, the touching continued. It kind of happened all that summer, but I think after this individual noticed that I kind of shied away more. It's like the more the touching happened, the more you wouldn't find me around this person. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The more I would be around other cousins and siblings that, what I'm saying, to keep my distance. But I mean, it didn't. Once I believe they noticed my withdrawal, it kind of did calm down. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? And I think the main thing was the last part of it, the touching began to be more severe, but there was an incident of cause quote unquote hunching.
Okay.
And so when that happened, a little bit more, I was done. Like this, no, I just didn't feel right about that at all. Cause I knew if nothing else, that was wrong. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Again, don't know why. I do know why, but I didn't say anything. And so again, didn't want to get nobody in trouble. And I didn't want to be the tattletale. I was working on that anyway, but I didn't want to be the tattletale. But overall, this summer taught me valuable lessons, and some of this stuff ended up exposing itself. I did hide this situation in my mind so deeply because I didn't know how to deal with it. And it showed itself in my relationships with other people, dating. It showed itself in my sexual lifestyle.
Mm.
How I would be amongst other, I was a young lady who, you're not gonna get me, I'm gonna get you. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
was a young
Right.
lady. Again, I grew up with boy cousins. So they always taught me like, hey, boys only want one thing. And so I created a tougher exterior, less emotional, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't get got, you wasn't gonna in a sense, talk to me and then dump me, or have a relation with me and then dump me, I was gonna be the one to do that. So
Right.
it created
So
basically. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. I didn't mean to cut you off, but let's pause right there real quick because I want to cover something. You
Okay.
said with you, right? You were gonna tell, but you were afraid because you were gonna be a tattletale. And then you said, you knew that if anything, the hunching wasn't supposed to happen. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because with some of us, we grew up, just thinking that's kids being kids. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is just what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
until we get older or we realize, like, wait a minute, this ain't right, because like you say, it escalates from touching to
Yeah.
hunching to,
Yeah.
for some even more to where penetration and things like that happen. Or let's just be honest,
Yes.
oral sex can happen with that, And so
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to see and realize this is not right. You know what I'm saying? But I do hate the fact that you weren't able to tell someone because of the tattletale thing, because in that moment, and as we realize as we get as adults now, that moment should have been spoke about, like even when I said about me, like I didn't realize
Yeah.
that I was being molested, and that, it was grooming me a process, and the person that did it to me,
Yeah.
something happened to her. And probably in the same instant, it probably happened to the same cousin. But I'm glad for the fact that you were able to say, you know what, no, this ain't right. Even if I
Yeah.
don't want to be the tattletale, this isn't right. But, you dived into, how it affected you, in your
Yeah.
sex life and your relationship life. So let's talk about that. Let's go a little deeper about how that did affect you, when you were dating boys, being a teenager and getting older.
Yes. I love that. I did want to point something out too about the word rape and the word molestation, real quick, because even at that age, I knew what rape meant.
Right.
I did not know what molestation meant.
A lot of us did.
And rape was forceful. So in my mind, because he wasn't like it was forced, yes, but it wasn't like like we see. And I even in school back in the day, I thought about rape as, and I don't want to sound like this, but when I think about rape, I thought about African American slaves. You know what I'm saying? Truly being forced.
Right.
To
Being
have, you know
forced
what
to
I'm
do
saying?
something. Yeah.
Right. It took me to be a grown adult, or to see life happen, experience life, for me to know what really the totality of rape. Rape means no. You know what I'm saying? No means no. And if you go against the no, then that's considered rape. So
They
I
took
do
it.
believe, right, but rape wasn't, rape was the word that we used for sexual assault in my mind at that age,
In our
not molestation.
neighborhoods and
Right.
growing up, we heard rape. Like you said, we didn't hear molestation. We
No.
didn't hear the word pedophile. We didn't even know what pedophiles were,
Yes.
Like we didn't hear
Right.
that. We heard rape. And so
Yeah.
even if it wasn't, well, they didn't take it, they didn't
Right.
force themselves on it, we didn't think,
Yeah.
the other things outside of rape, like I didn't
Right.
learn about molestation till I got older, and things like that.
Right.
Because again, in the African American household in our community, we don't talk about molestation.
Right.
We don't talk about that, that's another episode, but that's where we put those skeletons in the closet, and we shut that
Yeah.
door and we just say, oh, well, you can't go over such and such house instead of dealing with the
Right.
problem,
Yes.
But,
You just hit it on
like I
the head.
say, that's another episode. We're gonna get to that, but
Yeah.
still, that is true. We never learned about molestation in our neighborhoods, in our homes.
Yes. Amen. Absolutely. And I'm not churchy, but it's in me. So
It's okay.
forgive my, my approach. I want, this is for everybody,
It's okay.
and this stuff lives everywhere, but yeah, to go into the relationships that I ended up being, in, I didn't take males serious. I didn't take men serious. I just, because I knew in my mind they only want one thing because of the experience I had sexually. And there's another thing that I advocate for young kids. There are kids that I have been privy to, that I've heard them speak of such things. And I know, and even with me, I walked around with shame a little while, because why does something that's bad why does it make me feel like this? Why do it make me feel like I have an urge to want to do it? Why do I feel like I have an urge to want to participate of? I didn't want to be touched, and I didn't like being touched, especially against my, my will, because sometimes it happened against, well, I'm gonna say all the time it happened against my will, but there was times that, okay, what does that feel like the next step? So what does it feel like? Of course, even then I thought about I didn't even really think about sex until that stuff started happening. But once found that arousals take place when stuff is touched, that part of me wanted to explore what it was, but not with family. Not with
I
a
get
cousin.
it. I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Not as an adolescent, but now we just open the door of sex, with not the proper guidance, not the proper information. And so yeah, I treated sex as a tool. In a sense, I worshipped it for a minute,
We get
where
there. We do get there.
you know what I'm saying, where I had to get myself together and move on to the next. You know what I'm saying? Again, it was situations where one guy was like, "You kind of cold-hearted," and I'm like, "Bro, like, what does that mean? I don't know what cold heart mean. I'm doing the same thing you do to me, even though he may not have been doing that." But my ideal of a male's presence, it wasn't individual. And I just make up a name. We're gonna call him Dante. Okay. This is not a real person, but Dante was not responsible for my trauma or the male image. Dante was just trying to be a nice guy. But because of a sexual encounter that happened, unbeknownst to myself, everybody was now this sexual encounter. And Dante, and now I done poured my trauma on Dante and used and abused them as a tool, for just that sexual preference. So it did show up in other areas too. It made me recognize, why did I, even the tattletale, I had to deal with that. I had to forgive myself, because I allowed a title. That's why I know we are kind of stuck on titles sometimes. You a tattletale, or you a crybaby, or we used to roast each other back in that day. You know what I'm saying? So those all titles hold power. They hold
They
weight.
do.
It's a responsibility with them. But ultimately, I think, I had to learn how to accept what titles they were, for just enough for me to be like, that's what it is, okay, and that's not me. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, if like, I also grew up hearing you being fast. You know what I'm saying? Well,
Oh,
no,
they
I'm
said that a
not being
lot. They said that
fast.
a lot.
You
You know
know,
that.
right? You being fast. You trying to be grown. Well, I mean, when you have emotionally, intelligent parents who lash out emotionally, and hold us hostage emotionally, we tend to, have to mature in certain areas of our life that may look grown, that may
Right.
look quote unquote fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just titles like that kind of, that can damage our youth, our young people, and cause other areas of their life to, for them to fall. And then when they fall, they don't have the right support, because now they don't trust what you say when you call them, fast and grown. I can't come to you because you
Right.
already has told me who I was, and I may be having a moment, but that's not who I am, if that makes
Right.
sense.
No, I get it. So with that, that fast title, and you were saying how you basically treated men, how you would feel men would treat, women. And I've been in those shoes where
Absolutely.
I literally treated women, the same way. Like, man, I'm gonna get mine and go, because of,
Right.
that trauma and what happened. And so realizing that, when did you get to the point to realize, okay, this isn't right. I need to deal with this past trauma and figure out how to grow from it to be a better person, not just sexually, but be a better person mentally, you know what I'm saying, and emotionally?
I learned this when I became a mother.
Okay.
Because I didn't want my children or the child at the time to ever
That's when you
uh
had my fat mamas.
absolutely, and so I didn't want her to have to deal with the things that I had to deal with. And that's where my mind came, I gotta be this curse breaker. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I didn't know that's what I was saying at the time, but I knew I didn't want her to experience. Because as a mother now, I wouldn't want my kids to feel like they have to go through something by themselves, even if
Mm-hmm.
they feel shameful. And so I knew that at my age, when I became a mother, I knew that then. Like, I don't want them. I want them to be able to come to me and talk to me, because those moments could have caused. I do believe that if I would have said something and I felt like I could, that it could have bonded, some healing on everybody's aspect. Like you said, sometimes behavior go unchecked because it's unchecked. Yeah. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Even for the person that was, in a sense, being, and I don't want to use such words, but being the pedophile, because that's
Being
what it was.
managed, being the
Being managed,
pedophile,
right.
doing what
And
he learned or doing what somebody did to
right.
him. Right. We just got to call a spade a spade.
Yeah. And this cousin was an older cousin.
See what I'm saying?
I want to say every bit of over 18. And so, and
Oh, she paused on me, y'all. No.
was like, oh, I feel safe around this person,
Right.
but ultimately I wasn't safe around that person. And so I literally had to dive into issues that I had in my youth. But again, what opened that door was becoming a mother. I wanted to be a good mother. I didn't want my child to feel abandoned. I didn't want my child to feel like they couldn't converse. So in order for me to be a listener and not a over talker, I had to learn how to listen to myself, heal some things in me, and even as being a mother of my first child, again, I didn't tie all this stuff down to sexual assault
Right.
yet. I didn't tie all this stuff down to my childhood traumas yet, or how I felt, my feelings regarding how I grew up and all. I didn't tie it to yet. I just knew for her life, she got to be the different one. I got to
Right.
make it
Right.
right. I got to make it better for her. So that's all I knew, and that's what kind of made me change my mind, because too, I ended up in a toxic relationship with the person I had my daughter with. He was very toxic. And I had to ask myself,
Indeed.
why am I talking to this person? I was trying to save somebody, but I was hurting myself in the process. And again, didn't want my child to experience what abuse was. And again, when you're in a toxic relationship with someone, the door is open for everything for your child, for sexual assault, because your eyes is not on the growth and the mature and the nature of your child. It's on toxicity. And I did not want that for my child. So I knew then it's time I have to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have to whatever I thought I needed to do, it's not about me no more. It's literally about my child. And I ain't gonna lie, that's the best decision that I made. My children are my joy, and they're my investment. I invested all of me into them, because I want to make sure that they are able to. I don't want to be the reason why they fall. I want to be the reason why they succeed and prevail. And
And
so I had to change, I had to shift my mind.
right. And then, like you said, about the tattletale thing, right? You want your child to be able to come talk to you, right? You
Yes.
want your child to be able to come talk to you. You want your child to be able to tell you things that are going wrong. You don't want
Mm.
your child to be in that same situation that you were in with another family member or friend or a
Yeah.
friend of a friend, because
Right.
honestly, is happening. It's 2024, and you would think with technology the way that it is
Yeah.
now, and based on how
You
we
ain't
grew
lying.
up, it
Hmm.
wouldn't be as bad as it is. But honestly, it's worse. because you hear about it more, you seeing it more, with what's going on in families with sexual assault. You see that more. When in the 90s, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have people tracking us. We weren't able to, if we left, we weren't able to call home unless we were at somebody's house who had a phone. Then we could call home. So you would think by us not having the contact that we did, it would be worse. But I feel like it's worse now, even with the internet, even with the contact. And you want to give your child that safe space, to say, hey, mom, this happened to me. Hey, mom, my cousin such and such has done this to me, So now we're on the healing side, So how have you healed, and how are you, what is what I'm looking for? I want to know, how have you healed, and whatever measures you had to take, outside of, your children to get to this point of who Arnetta is now.
I'll say I'm still healing, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
I won't say healed because I want to keep it free on my mind because I'm still raising my children. And on a personal note, like, I'm spiritual, okay? I can't help it. But on a spiritual level, I be like, the enemy, you coming for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to get a little gutter with him, because who you coming for? Because it does try to expose itself even to your children. I do believe it's a spirit. You know what I'm saying? I do believe it's a spirit to kind of trap us, in our adolescent, when we are, because we perish because of the lack of knowledge, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
as a child, you don't, you're still learning. You're still being matured. You're still being nurtured. You don't know. And so, that's why we have to know and be the advocate to watch the signs. When I see and I'm not blaming nobody, but I'm just going to talk about Arnetta. But when I see my kids getting a little isolated, I'm about to go see what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? When I see, my children, I see certain age groups with certain age groups, I'm not doing it to prowl, but yes, to start those conversations. Hey, what y'all doing?
And you have to know what's going on.
Yes, what y'all doing? And then I become a part of that gathering. I don't just think, oh, kids gonna be kids. No, get involved. Pick the brains of the kids' minds that are around your children, because everybody's house ain't in order. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not saying that mine always is. It's not. I'm just saying that pick the brains of the children. Kids will tell you who they are. If you when you start asking questions and trying to get to know them, you will know exactly. You will know the kid who has the anger problem. You will know the kid who has low self-esteem. You will know the kid that stays in the shed. You will begin to know who the child is. So yes, I am still healing, because I do believe it's something that we need to keep fresh on our minds, that that there is a spirit roaming around trying to seek who it can devour. And this, what it did was, it trapped me in my mind, and it made me allow lies for me to accept the lie. You know what I'm saying? For myself and for the person that was, assaulting me, in a sense. Again, these are strong words, but necessary word. And again, why are we scared to say such things? Why are we scared to call a pedophile? Why are we scared to, call the things as what it is? Why are we scared to do that? You know what I'm saying? If a person is being aggressive, he is aggressive. Well, call him aggressive. If you're angry, angry. If you're emotional, because again, freedom takes place when we call a thing a thing. You know what I'm saying? Healing takes place when we call a thing a thing. So I would say I'm still healing, because I do know I have daughters out here. And again, it don't stop with daughters. There are boys out here being touched inappropriately, making them question their manhood. You know what I'm saying? Coming against the manhood. Yes. And they're not being just touched by girls. They're being touched by other males. You know what I'm saying? Making them question, am I gay? You know what I'm saying? So, and again, not trying to offend anybody's community or whatever, but it make people question things. And then you walk
when
with
it's happening
shame.
to them. Right.
Right. And now they're shameful. Now they don't want to open up. Now they don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? We making it harder for other future unions, marriages. I thank God for my husband. He is a big part of the healing process. You know, I had to learn how to trust males, but I started with him. But I thank God that I was in a place where I was able to receive him too, because everybody else, he the only one stayed. He the only one that, number one, that I chose back. You know what I'm saying? He chose me first, but I chose him back. It was some that chose me, but I was like, bro, I don't got time for you. And pretty decent guys too, but no, I'm
Right,
straight.
right.
I don't want the responsibility of loving somebody and having my feelings hurt. You know what I'm
I get
saying?
it.
You know, so, but I thank God for my husband because he helped me. He has helped, the way that he loved me, the way that the way he loved God, allowed me to get to know that there are good men out here, that there are good fathers out here, that they're really, you know, you are another story for me too, success story. You know, the way, you know, these men out here raising their children, again, not perfect, but the way that you you know, build families with your spouse, you know, that right there helped me to heal, because I had to rediscover the image of a man.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. So in a minute or less, if you could have a word for young women and young men out there who have dealt with it, dealing with it, afraid to bring it out, what would you tell them?
Snitch. Okay, snitch. Go ahead, be a snitch. Own it. Okay. Be a snitch, be a tattleteller. You won't get stitches. If anything, you'll be delivered. You'll be free. And share your story. Your story is important. Conversations need to happen in the household, because it makes everybody to be accountable of poor behavior. Okay, bad behavior. And so in order for us to get ahead of it, we have to discuss poor behavior, so we can know the difference between what poor behavior is and what the right behaviors are. Talk about it.
Right. I like that. I like that. So with that, we'll end our podcast on that note. Arnetta, I appreciate you. I thank you for coming on, telling your story, getting people to see you, see, you know, what you've experienced, hearing how it affected you and
Amen.
how you're still trying to heal. Because like I tell people, healing is a process. You know, it's baby
Yeah.
steps. You know, my favorite saying now is one day, one step. You know, and that goes for growing, that goes for healing, that goes for trying new things. So healing is truly a process. We can never tell a person
Yes.
how long it's going to take to heal, because we don't know the magnitude of what affected them. So again,
Yeah.
I appreciate you getting on. I thank you. So we'll be airing this soon. And with that, I love you. And next time I'm in Little Rock, I'll get up with you, kiss the babies for me. And
Yes.
I thank you for being here.
Amen.